the conversations with X, what kind of progress do you think is actually being made? Is it just dialogue or is there actual progress?
Yeah, I think it's more dialogue. Here's one thing I want to point out about the comment that Brian Flores made, the one that was the headline grabbing comment that we obviously needed to report, but which was we don't want to trade
X.
X. Notice he didn't say we are not going to trade X, because I would go back to 2 years ago, and I'm going to guess at some point their thinking was, or they're even the public comments. I don't quite remember if they ever said it, but I'm sure they would have said we don't want to trade Laremy Tunsil.
Right.
Well, guess what? They wound up trading Laremy Tunsil. So I certainly do believe that they do not want to trade X. But right now we're still in a situation where he's still not practicing, although he was out there for the walkthrough yesterday. But as we mentioned, they're really not moving, so it's not significant. But he's not out there at practice. And we're in the middle of what's now the new term, a quote-unquote hold-in.
Yeah.
Where X is here basically so he doesn't get fined.
Like Adams in Seattle is doing the same thing.
Correct. So, I mean, how much progress is being made? Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced. There are reports out there that there are no progress being made, that basically the Dolphins are still in a you will play and you will like it posture, which I'm not sure is really how this is going to play out. Because, again, do you really want a guy on your team who is really, really unhappy, who doesn't want to be there, who has the potential to create issues, whether with quote unquote injuries or, something else? So,
yeah, but you can't say you care about your teammates and then during the regular season you're going to come up with phantom injuries and not play. So he's kind of in a catch-22 here because he can face fines that they can't reverse. He can create lies with injuries, and then he's screwing his teammates. He's screwing himself over. And the Dolphins, in a way, in this whole thing kind of did their part. They gave him the contract because he didn't understand it or whatever. That's his problem. But he's got to be careful, right, Alan, the way he handles this season, because if I'm sure he and his agent had to have sat down finally and said, look, man, money-wise, it's easier for them to trade you at the end of the season. So they might drag this thing on to the end of the year and then trade you at that point because it's a window for them to get out without penalty. Right now, there is some penalty if they trade you because then stuff gets accelerated and it affects them. Financially, it won't affect them at the end of the year. We got to soldier up to the end of the year so we can get out of here and get our money. Or do you think he does create those problems? Because then that makes it harder for them to trade him and harder for him to get more money down the line.
Here's a couple of things, though. Number one, I did the research on this, and the financial implications for the Dolphins, if they were to trade him now, are really not significant at all. I think the numbers may have been, because most of his money's already been paid out. He's got nothing guaranteed beyond this year. Also remember that. So he's looking at a situation where you get past this year, and if he's not the Xavier Howard that we've seen before, Dolphins might very well do what they did to Bernard McKinney, which is basically you will take a pay cut and you will like it, or we will cut you. So that's an issue. And
yeah, but they're not cutting him.
They're not cutting him now because he's coming off. He's coming off. But what if his play takes a dip? And
right.
It's not even just the issue of quote unquote phantom injury like the ankle injury he has now, which let's be honest, is kind of, I don't want to say phantom, but it's certainly, let's just say it's mysterious.
I'll say it for you. It's complete BS. But go ahead.
Fair enough. No argument here. But the issue is also you can have a guy who's gonna ball out as much as he can, but human nature is what it is. And if the guy doesn't want to be there and he's completely, pissed off at the organization, that's got a negative impact on the rest of the team, like it or not. So, and I don't think it's black and white. I don't think it's all Xavier Howard's fault that you sign a contract. You have to honor it because, again, this game works both ways.
Sure.
So, So they have to make it work. The bottom line, because they're not as good a team without Xavier Howard. They can't have a situation where he's on the team and his contract is not addressed because he's already put it out there that I want to trade if they don't do anything with my contract. So it's got to play out one way or the other. And again, when Brian Flores says talks are progressing and all that, okay, now I'd like to hear it from the other side. And David Cantor, Howard's agent, is not discussing anything publicly. And Howard spoke last Saturday, and I don't know the next time he'll speak to us. And when he spoke last Saturday, he was basically saying his talks with Brian Flores went nowhere, that there was no movement whatsoever.